root your why in yourself.
Ooh.
Like a lot of people say, well, I want to be the next Issa Rae, or I want to be the next like Abbott Elementary. Those already exist, and everybody wants to be Issa Rae. You need to be yourself.
Welcome back, y'all, to another episode of Marketing Mentality. I'm Alan Shelton. To my right is Desmond Walker. Today, we got a very, 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 very special guest with us. A tycoon, a icon, what you would call it, bro? Yeah,
That's what I read also.
I read that in Forbes, and like I think it was it was a lot of different places, bro. But she is an excellent creative strategist. She's worked with brands and companies like Google, YouTube. She worked on Barbie. She's currently at the Chicago Sky. Welcome, Nia Robinson. How you doing?
Great, thanks for having me. I did not know I was a tycoon.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
okay.
you gotta claim it.
I gotta claim it. You're right. I am an icon.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, we appreciate it, man. Y'all. Fun fact, chat. People that are watching this, Nia was on a panel that we put together called "Sky's the Limit." Right. We brought in people that worked at the Sky, but also brought in people that are interested in sports, working for sports teams, and just sports as a general. And it was an amazing event. Nia went viral on TikTok, bro. She invited the whole city out. Packed the house. It was about to burst in here, man. But it was a lot of knowledge that was dropped, and we just want to thank you again for that. That was what, 3 months ago? When was that? About 2 months ago. It feels a little bit longer, but
yeah, I know. Time flies.
We stayed in touch, and just want to thank you for that, and just the knowledge that you dropped, and now it led us to here, being able to be on the pod, right? So to get started, we'd love to the viewers and us as well, and the listeners, to know what is the Nia Robinson journey. Like, how did you get to where you are right now?
Yeah, so I graduated college in 2019. Was working at a law firm, and eventually realized like this is not for me. And I talked to at least 150 people. Like I was just calling up everybody, lawyers, non-lawyers, just trying to see, what was next. And then it dawned on me, I said, I'm really interested in marketing and media. Like this is what I am interested in. Maybe I should explore this. So I tweeted out, hey y'all, I think I want to do marketing. Can you please let me know if you hear of anything? Yeah. And so my very first client was a tech company that helps connect people who are incarcerated to their families, and it makes it easier for them to share photos and messages and things like that. So that was my first ever client. And, pandemic happens, and I'm like, okay, well, time to, jump ship. And I worked at a publishing agency. And again, my story and my career involves a lot of cartwheels and backflips, but I've always landed on my feet. Yeah. And I'm very grateful for that, and the people who have, seen me along the way. And so I eventually, I'm looking for a job. I'm living in New York. I'm like, I got rent to pay. I got a month to find a job. Yeah. And I don't even remember applying for this job, but it was at an agency formerly known as XX Artists. They were bought by Media Monks, S4, and that's where I really cut my teeth. And I started out as an account manager, and it was fine. And my boss at the time tells me, he goes, we are restructuring right now, and I just don't know where to put you. And usually when you hear that, you're like, can you find somewhere to put me? Because I'm not trying to look for another job. But I knew that I had all of this opportunity, like the world was my oyster, and I felt just so grateful to be in that position. And so YouTube wanted us to put together an RFP for a creator event in LA for wellness, always, Black creators. And that was one of my accounts, the Black Voices Fund. And I do it again. This is almost like a startup. And so I do the strategy for it, and I'm doing a run through, and the CEO's in it. And then, we finish up the meeting, and he's like, why do we have you as an account manager? Like, have you ever considered creative strategy? And I said, no, I thought y'all made that up. And so, and I go into that, and I really just blossomed. And I just had so much fun, and I knew that this is where I want to be. And I won't bore you with, all those specifics, but fast forward to the Sky, and I am interviewing, and I get the job, and I tell my boss, I know my official title does not say creative strategy or creative strategist, but I'm just letting you know that it's going to be there on my LinkedIn, on my resume, and all of these things because one, for branding and marketing purposes, and then also two, at my core, that's who I am.
Yeah.
And so no matter what else comes before or after that, I'm a creative strategist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. Can you, going back to that, because I'm about to go off script for a second.
Yeah.
Talk about what a creative strategist is. You
Yeah.
said it's at your core, it's at your heart. Talk about what that means, because it sounds fancy, right? It sounds like something, oh, I want to be I'm a creative strategist.
Yeah.
But talk about what that actually means and how you implement that every day.
Well, it's almost like a creative director. Everybody wants to be a creative director, and, that's great, but there are actual skills involved. And so, for example, it's looking at budgets and balancing them and understanding, does my strategy work for every single person who is, and maybe I'll back up a bit more. And so a brand or a person or a musician will come to me with a problem, whether it's, or a problem or an opportunity. And they'll say, we're trying to reach these people. Here are our key performance indicators. Here is how we're going to measure it. Please come back to me with a plan on how to do that. And so I've done film rollouts, I've done digital campaigns, I've done podcasts, I've done a range of things. And so my job is to take their problem or opportunity and say, based off the research, based off who you are, who you're trying to reach, and everything that you've given to me, here's my strategy, here's my approach, here are some of the goals, the pillars of the campaign as well too. And then based off of that, this is exactly what I think you should do. And so sometimes it's tactics if it's a digital campaign. Sometimes it's the makeup of the space and the look and feel if it's more something like, an in-person event. But it's a lot of fun for me. I really enjoy helping people put things together, whether it is a live event or something like that. I don't know. It's very nebulous, but I do think when I talked to a creative director, I said, what does it take to be a creative director? And he said, I balance a lot of budgets. That's a hard skill. Research is another hard skill that's really important. And just being able to tell a client or a person, this is my idea, and this is why I think you should go with it. So.
Wow.
Going back, Nia, you talked about cartwheels, as you called them, during your process of getting to your current role as a creative strategist. What were the cartwheels? Talk about that.
Yeah, so the first cartwheel was not realizing I didn't want to be a lawyer. Some of the attorneys, they were yelling at me, and I said, you are not my mom. Why are you yelling at me? I said, this is not a space for me. I can't do this. So that was the first cartwheel. The second cartwheel, I would say all of us went through, was the pandemic, in terms of, there's an opportunity. I either sink or swim. And I'm very grateful that I have champagne problems right now. Like, that's what I call them. Like, these are all great problems to have. A not so great problem. So I'm working at the publishing agency that I got through an alum who connected me with somebody who connected me with somebody else. And I quit that job on the spot, actually, and almost had to file a Title IX complaint against my boss. It was just him and I, but it was not a good situation. Like, I had a lot of lawyers helping me out, trying to figure out, what should I do? Should I sue? Should I not? And I eventually decided not to, because one of them said, unfortunately, one, litigation takes forever. So do you have the time, money, and energy to go through that?
Right.
But then two, unfortunately, you are going to deal with this again. And you're so early in your career, really think about it. And as a woman, as a Black woman, I also realized that, let's say I went through and the last words he said to me was, you're never going to work in publishing again. Whether I win or lose a lawsuit, whether I get $5 million, that is on my marketing resume. And the fact that I have to think about that in the first place is really important, or not lost on me. And so that was another cartwheel. That was when I had a month to find a job. When I decided not to, go out to LA and continue working with Kerry Washington, that's another cartwheel, because again, I need to find another job. And I think now I'm currently in a backflip because I, enjoy my work with this guy, and I'm always thinking about not necessarily what's next, but I'm thinking about school. I'm thinking about what's the opportunity in front of me, especially knowing how women's sports are just skyrocketing right now.
Yeah. Talk about that a little bit. One of the things I was curious to know from you is, what is the current state of the sports spectrum as a whole, but particularly around women's sports? Like you said, it's skyrocketing right now. So people that are watching this and listening to this, and what's your perspective? What's the state of sports marketing right now from your vantage point?
I mean, there's so much opportunity. The leagues, all of the leagues are growing, not even just the WNBA, but also there are some new women's baseball teams that are growing. Flag football is another league or sport that's growing. I have a friend who just moved to Denver to work for their new women's soccer team. And so there's just a lot of league in just sports opportunities right now.
Yeah.
And then from a marketing perspective, because we're seeing this boom of money, at least in basketball, thanks to players like Paige and Angel and Caitlin Clark, their brands are looking at the WNBA and how they can work with us in ways that they haven't before. And so obviously there's fashion, there's beauty. Airlines are also another really big sponsorship opportunity. Food as well. Sometimes we also get alcohol brands, but there's a lot of opportunity, I think, for people to really get their piece of the pie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. To drill down a little bit more, you mentioned the brand partnerships. Us being marketers, we understand the importance of a brand aligning with booms, right?
Yeah.
Ticks on the scale that align with the bottom line, which is money and visibility, right? Can you talk about, from your vantage point, the partnership or the synergy between how those brands and how the product of WNBA or any other product can align to make marketing or make that partnership make sense?
Yeah, it really depends on what story you're trying to tell.
Right.
And so, for example, if you have a women's league, a lot of them wear makeup. A lot of them wear makeup during the games, and so that's a very easy opportunity right there. But then you'll also have, for example, let's say a food brand. They may provide food to the players after the games or to the staff before games as well too. That's another thing that makes sense. And so it's really about making it work for you. Something we talk a lot about is how can we make sponsorships, because if you look at the breakdown of money across all leagues except baseball, sponsorships is how the money that they just keep the lights on.
Right.
Yeah. Whereas it's different in baseball because they sell a lot more tickets and have a lot more games. And so they don't have to focus on sponsorships as much, even though that they do. Right. And so let's say, and it's also depends on the team as well too. So if we have a team that has more, let's say, like masculine presenting players, for example, and they're just not wearing makeup, of course we can still have a beauty partnership with makeup and stuff like that. But it looks different in terms of the content that we create because they're not doing that. It's not as natural for them because they don't do that on a daily basis. Whereas you have other teams that have more feminine players and it's an easy sell because they're using those products already anyway.
Right.
So yeah, so I think it's about being strategic, and it's not saying, no, we can't do this, or no, this doesn't make sense. I think it's more so the point of marketing is you say, how does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Nia, put us into your world, right? So day to day,
We sure you want to go there, man? I mean, see,
I'm screaming.
it's the icon right here, man. We know you might be overwhelmed.
Well, so if I showed you my to-do list right now, I have my work to-do list, and then I have my life to-do list that's siphoned or sectioned off between all of the things I have going on outside of my day-to-day job. Yep. It scares a lot of people because it's very long.
It scared me 2 seconds into your explanation because you said a life list.
Yeah.
And a what list?
My work list. And my
list.
life list has things like, I fundraise for the Chicago Public Library. I am helping a friend out on her podcast, and I want to start my own television show. And there's a lot, I have a lot in my orbit. Yeah. And so I'm a night owl when it comes to work. I will try to go to the gym in the morning because I don't mind working late at night. And something I'm working on right now, it's hard. I need libraries and bookstores to be open later because I want to, work somewhere. But anyway, so a lot of my day is really just looking at the lay of the land. What are my P1s, my P2s, P3s? Of course, I want to make this television show happen or do the pilot before the end of the year. Mm-hmm. But if I'm actively, the things that I'm getting paid for, those have to take priority, And so... and then at the Sky specifically, right now, I had a presentation yesterday about the end of season wrap report where we kind of talked about numbers, top performing, bottom performing, all that stuff. And what else am I working on? Getting into the holidays, how can we, support the community, make sure that we're, being an active community member. And overall, just seeing how can I maximize the amount of fun that I have at work. So I have a lot of ideas that I want to do,
real.
and telling my boss, I need X amount of dollars so I can get my giveaway items. So that's kind of where we are. A lot of sports teams that are off season are right now.
Yeah.
I know, repping
Giveaway
right there.
items.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Can we get a close up in the back?
No, for real. Hey,
2021.
I'm getting mine soon too,
Yeah.
man. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting
I don't say this lightly, man, but I hardly ever associate the word hater with the name Allen. But Nia, ever since you and Moms looked out with this right here,
that's so funny.
It's been keeping him up at night.
That's so funny.
Not too much.
But that's kind of the point, like part of marketing is no matter what happens on the court, how can we make sure that people want to rock our stuff? How do we make sure that people, like, think about the Bulls, for example. It doesn't matter their season. It's a cultural institution.
Yeah, for sure.
And so a lot of what I think about with the Sky is how can we continue to hammer that down and solidify that? So you're walking down the street and people are like, I want my Chicago Sky, hat or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Talk to us a little bit more about the balance between you being a creative strategist at the Sky, but also you said your orbit. I like what you said about that, about the other things that you have going on and how you manage that, but also being a content creator and, all the other things you have going on, right? And then talk about it from a standpoint of someone that's similar or wants to be in your shoes that that is multi-hyphenated, but still wants to present as they're presenting in terms of what their regular role is, but also be able to have other opportunities as well. How do you manage that?
Yeah, I mean, I get that question a lot, how do you do it all? And I say I just do what I want. I really do what I want. And it makes it easier to do the things that I have to do. Yeah. Right? There are some things I don't necessarily want to do, but those are crucial to making sure, one, I get my W-2 every year, or making sure that the person of who I am as a person, I'm able to continue showing up. And so I think it's hard, it's challenging. I haven't cracked the code. I think I can be more disciplined. I think I can, be a bit more organized and all those things. And again, a lot of people think I'm very type A. I think in some ways I am. But at the end of the day, my focus is, how can I have fun and be a good person? And the money and everything else will follow. But then I also saw a video, somebody was saying, successful people, like, think about the person whose life that you kind of want, whether it's Beyonce, whoever, they do and are willing to do things that the average person is not. And when Beyonce is talking about how the diet that I had, I lost all this weight and all this stuff, me personally, I'm not doing that. And I know I'm not going to be Beyonce because I'm not doing that.
Right. I'm not willing to pour that in. Yeah.
And you think about athletes, and they're like the mentality, the Mamba mentality, the way that they think. It's for each person. My friends in med school, I'm not doing that. And so I think you kind of find what you are willing to do and follow that. It's easier said than done. I'm not perfect at it at all, but I know really badly I want to succeed in media. And so there are certain things, or even in sports, I got to give up my Saturdays for a game. Yeah.
That's interesting. Going back to the sports conversation, right? We have this buzz that's happening around the WNBA, and we're going to touch on this briefly, and then let us know how we should go and move with that, right? So the All-Star game is coming to Chicago, right? So talk about, one, what is the All-Star game? What does that bring, right? Outside of is the combination of the best players for that particular season. But talk about it from a marketing perspective, and talk about it from a branding perspective, and then also talk about what that means for the city that it's coming to.
Yeah, so any All-Star game, no matter the league, it's really an industry event. It's where the players are there, media's there, the coaches, every single person, the fans are there. It's kind of a meeting of the minds in the best way possible. The last All-Star game I went to was in Vegas, and that was so much fun.
It's Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was a lot of fun.
You want to tell us, like, what, Vegas is, how was that?
I mean, and that's the thing about it, right? Like, I didn't really go outside, and it was also the G League, not the G League, Summer League was there, which was cool.
Oh,
and so, it was cool to be able to see both parts of it. And so WNBA Live, which is this huge, almost think McCormick Place. Yep. You have sponsors, there are panels, meet and greets, you can buy merch, you can do this, you can that. Like, it's a candy land for people who love basketball. And I think that's super cool. And what it means, I think, for the city that it goes to, is they have an opportunity to put their best foot forward. But it also means there's a lot of competition, because think about summertime Chicago.
Yeah.
There are festivals and museums and so much that we can do.
Yeah.
So our challenge and goal is to say, okay, we see, you know, your programming for the summer. If you're, and we want to raise you, everybody's going to be here. Everybody wants to come here and be here. And so that's kind of, you know, how we look at it. And it really varies by different leagues and things like that. But for the most part, it's a chance to showcase the best of the best across the board.
Yeah. So is it a lot of pressure that comes with that? Like when you all found that out, this is like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
We got some work to do. Or is it more exciting? Like, okay, here's the opportunity. Or is it a combination of both?
I mean, I think it's all of the above, right?
Yeah.
Because I think another thing, especially as the WNBA generally continues to grow, you also have to deal with legacy, for example.
Yeah.
And when I think the Bulls deal with that as well too. You know, we've been around, we've been kicking it since, you know, I can't remember when they were incorporated, but you have fans who have been here for however long saying, well, when I was in blah 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 blah, or in 2000 and XYZ, this is what I thought. And so there is some pressure to meet the moment in terms of fans have a certain perspective that, not even just fans, the industry themselves, and wanting to make sure that we elevate. But it's exciting.
Yeah.
That's so cool. There's so much opportunity.
Yeah.
I already have people knocking on my door being like, well, I have this idea. What do you think about this? Or I want to do this collaboration. And I'm like, whoo, we're about to have a good weekend. So,
Wow.
yeah, I'm really excited.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, really excited.
So, Nia, we're talking sports in one sense, and often with sports, this thing called pressure gets talked about. It's sometimes hard to figure out.
Yeah.
Other times it's innate in players, right? And for some, it means nothing.
Yeah.
Outside of athletes, being close to that world, what's a moment you can recall where you think about kind of a high pressure moment in your role?
Yeah.
And how did you react to that?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'll tell this story. I've never told this story before.
Breaking news
Exclusive.
on Marketing Mentality. Stay
Oh my
tuned.
gosh.
All right, here we go.
So this was actually when I was working at the agency still. And I take time off. I take my brother to LA for his birthday. And we're just chilling on the roof of the pool, just hanging out. And I get a text message from one of my coworkers. Again, I'm on PTO, that says, "Hey Nia, where did you get this piece of information?" Knowing they're filming the podcasts that I work on. Where'd you get this piece of information? Because so-and-so said it's not true. And I'm like, my heart drops down to my heart is actually on the other side of the earth. And so I'm Googling, they're like, you better hurry up and find where you found this piece of information, pretty much like fact checking,
Right.
because he's like, what are you talking about? Like the camera is rolling. They're in the middle of the podcast. And it wasn't like objectively, this was a fireable offense. It was not just like, oh, my birthday's actually the 14th instead of the 15th. Like it was bad. And so I cried. I'm sobbing. I took a selfie and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I could get fired on the spot right now.
So is this a question that's already been asked?
Yes. And pretty much the guest is like, what are you talking about? Like,
And they're upset.
they handled it well. Like I probably would have been upset. Like again, like I wish I could share more specifics, but in terms of live events and marketing and sports, in media generally, you don't always have a second chance.
Yeah.
Like you don't have time. You have to make sure, and that's why pre-production really matters.
Yeah.
Because when you don't have your stuff together then, and I'd never made a mistake like that, which is probably why I still had my job, because it wasn't like it was bad. Like it makes the person look bad to their guest, and it makes everyone involved look bad because nobody checked it. But again, I built up this reputation, not necessarily that you don't have to check my work, but I'm not going to make a mistake like that. And I did. And so, yeah, when it comes to pressure, and even, with the Chicago Sky, I am logged into all of their socials on my phone, and my heart drops when I think that I posted something for my main on the Chicago, stuff like that. Like there's just no room for doubt, just no room for doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. So I want to dial back a little bit and get really practical. One thing about this podcast that we love is we give the viewers and the listeners practical advice about how to one day become, or if they're transitioning or whatever
Yeah.
the case about to be where you are, right? So what if someone asked you how to take that first step into working for a sports organization or
Yeah.
being a creative strategist for the organization, being able to have all the accounts logged in on your phone and control that and having that responsibility, what would you say some good advice for that it would be?
Yeah. So, and hear me out. The first thing I would say is you have enough advice. You have enough advice. There, you have talked to all the people. There's nothing else that I could tell you that actually doing the work can, like, I can't tell you anything new that someone else is going to tell you. Maybe there are things here and there that people can say, oh, well, maybe I did this and maybe I'll do that, try that. But you never know. The world is large. You don't know what the advice is going to be. But students, they always ask pretty much, how do you get my job, or how can I set myself up for success? And I tell them, when we get off the phone, concretely write down what you are going to do. Starting a newsletter, making a video, showing up, leaving your house. Like, if you really, really, really want this, we were talking about this, doers versus dreamers versus thinkers. I like to think that I'm all three of them, but the reason why I have my job at the Chicago Sky is because I left my house and because I did the work. And so maybe don't pick up the phone as much, because again, with networking, we can network all the time. But when I have 10 students reaching out to me on a weekly basis, talking about, can I pick your brain? Can I do this? Can I do that? You can. But when it's time for us to hire again, the chances that I will remember you are probably slim, just because of the volume.
Right.
But if you have something to show me, here's this newsletter that I've been working on. Here are some graphics that I've made while I am waiting for my full-time job. That's going to stick out. Anybody can talk. Sure, I have all the advice in the world for you, but you gotta put the pedal to the metal.
Yeah. And practically, like you said before, I like what you said about, hey, start something. I was actually talking to a young lady that I met going back to our alma mater, and she has potential. I can tell. Talked to her briefly, but I told her after we touched base, I'm like, here's what I want you to do. I want you to identify, these particular brands, and just, do like just something that, even if she does the internship or whatever the case may be or not, is actually putting that person in motion to do something that maybe they didn't learn necessarily in class, or something I know that we do day to day that's good to have as well, right? So I like what you said about actually doing something versus just thinking your mouthpiece is going to allow you to be in that role.
For sure. I mean, there's one young woman who I interviewed for my coordinator position.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work out. She works for the league now. And this was like a few month difference. Yeah. And I was so happy to see that, even though it didn't work out, like I would have hired her, even though it didn't work out though, she still landed on her feet. Yeah. Like it worked out. And so, I think there's a lot of opportunity, but at the same time, it's not lost on me that there's also not a lot of opportunity. We have people, when I interviewed for my coordinator, I think I looked through 600 applications. Like, there's a lot of people who want these jobs. You looked through all those applications? I did. I don't believe in having AI send me people, because that's how you miss out. Yeah. And I don't think it's fair that people are looked over because either AI is not picking it up, or they're not taught. Like, they can do the job, they're going to be the best person for the job, but they don't come from the background or the school background that's going to teach them how to cheat the system a little bit. And so I said, but here are the things. If I said, either answer these questions or give me a cover letter. And if I didn't have either of them, you're out. If the first thing is, well, I just really like insert player, you're out. You can't be a fan. This is the big leagues. You got to be a professional. Right. And so having that criteria made it easier for me to move through. But I do think it's important, at least for me, to make sure that I'm giving everybody a fair chance. Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
What's something that right now at this stage, Nia, you would say that you're focused on learning?
I really want a mentor. I would love to have a mentor. And I'm actually writing an article about how it's very difficult being hyper visible in media as a Black woman, but very invisible professionally. And so I can't pinpoint anything specific. Like, I think some hard skills. I would love to get some production skills. I would love to brush up on my public speaking skills again. And so, again, just, building up my toolkit. But I am yearning for a mentor. And it's so hard to find one.
Why is it hard to find one, do you think, from your perspective?
Yeah, so I think there are a few things. I think it's more of the environment than it is anything specifically. So, for example, we have the rollback of DEI for whatever reason across companies, and especially hitting media really hard. And so we just don't have the people that look like me in the positions to mentor me. I think media generally is a dog eat dog world and competition. And so sometimes I'm like, why am I competing with my manager for this opportunity? Like, you're supposed to help me. Help me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So
Help me, help me.
yeah. And so like stuff like that. And then there's that. But I think generally the environment that we're in, people are looking out for themselves, rightfully so. But, and that's why I'm so committed to pouring into the next generation, knowing that I am not that far ahead of the next generation. But I know it's hard. And so I try to tell people, you know, I'll tell a student, hey, thank you so much for sending your resume. In the future, send a PDF unless explicitly you asked me to edit it for you or something like that. And so when I can talk to students and give them some of that feedback, I try to do my role in terms of making sure their next interaction is better than the one that we have, even if it's, you know, fine interaction.
Yeah.
So.
That's amazing. 3 lessons, right? We like to ask people, again, going back to the practical advice, what are 3 lessons that you would give someone that's looking to take that step into working in media and sports and having those different opportunities?
I would say root your why in yourself.
Ooh.
Like a lot of people say, well, I want to be the next Issa Rae, or I want to be the next like Abbott Elementary. Those already exist, and everybody wants to be Issa Rae. You need to be yourself. I'm not trying to be Issa Rae. I'm not trying to be. A lot of people say I remind them of Io. You know Io, who's on the Bear.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, no,
she's
they.
great. Yeah.
I personally.
no,
Not like not like Gabby.
No, hey, chill. Man, I'm not about to be punished for knowing information. Okay, I don't know her personally, but
It's not that you
she's
know
great.
information, it's that you present.
Yeah,
Like, I know information is
but
not
you know what?
widely
That's
known.
a skill. I will say, because I
Thank
believed
you.
you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's so funny.
All right.
That's so funny.
Pop culture guru.
Yeah, I can see. I mean,
guy.
whoa. To your point. Okay, lessons. Yeah, root your why in yourself.
Yeah.
Know your information, because if I got up here and I was like, oh yeah, there are no WNBA teams actually coming to the league this year, like that's not true.
Right.
I mean, please fact check me on all the stuff, and I welcome a fact check. But know your stuff.
Right.
And then I think the last lesson, you never know who you're talking to.
That's a good one.
You never know, and really maximize your opportunities. I ran into Lori Lightfoot at an event last week, and I went up and introduced myself because I keep running into her. And if I didn't know, and there are other people, for example, they give us a VIP list, and I take a look. I looked at their LinkedIn, so I know what they look like. Because if I don't do that and I miss out on an opportunity to make a connection, that's all me. That's my fault.
I saw this clip. I don't know if you saw it or not. Kevin Hart was on a show, on a podcast, and he was talking about how Jeff Bezos was at an event, and he wanted to walk up and talk to him, but one of his homies was like, nah, play it cool, you know, don't walk up to him. He's like, play it cool for what? Like, I don't know him. He's a trillionaire. I want to talk to him. Can you talk about what working in media, working in entertainment, you're around a lot of people that have a lot of notoriety, right? Can you talk about what the importance of doing the thing that you're afraid of, doing it scared, and what that maybe feels like, and how you had to deal with that, maybe like you said, walking up to Lori Lightfoot, whomever it may be. Yeah. Like, talk about the importance of that in a relationship.
Yeah, definitely having confidence in saying, because the way I feel about when I interact with celebrities, I'm like, you're not my mom. Like, we bleed the same. Why? I mean, if I ever met Queen Latifah, I probably would fangirl a little bit, but generally,
make that call.
You know her. Yeah, please put me in touch. To the Queen. That's so funny. No, but the thing about it, the way I feel about it is like, how do I balance the fact that this person expects a certain level and caliber of experience and interaction with the fact that I don't know you and you don't pay my bills. So when I feel comfortable going up because I have a reason for going up, right? You know, like when I went up to Lori Lightfoot, I have the source of connection, established my credibility,
Yep.
and I made it very clear it's okay if you just want to say hi. I said I don't want anything. We keep seeing each other, and I just wanted to introduce myself. And so when I see them again, I can go up and say, "Hi, I'm Nia. I introduced myself at the this event," and we can go from there.
Right.
I think people always think that you have to want something from people, but sometimes you just want to say hi. And again, photos, sometimes people can be strict, like you have to be a professional, you should not be asking people for photos. But then, again, at the end of the day, it really depends. You gauge the situation and read the room. Yeah. Which is, you grow into being able to do that.
Yeah. Also, something you just said is a marketing principle in itself when I hear you talk about it, which is, repetition.
Yeah.
In marketing, we're taught the more eyeballs you get on a logo or on a brand or on a message, the better.
Yeah.
The sooner the audience starts to grapple with it, it becomes muscle memory.
Yeah.
And now after seeing a commercial or whatever that visibility is multiple times, now you're a purchaser, right? In this case, you're talking about marketing yourself as a professional. And yes, saying hi, Lori, once may not do the trick, but saying hi, Lori, twice, 3 times, 4 times can, there's no ceiling on where that can go.
No, exactly. And, I cannot think of what I would ever need from her at all. No, just because, not to say I would never need anything, but that's just not how I'm thinking of it.
Right.
And I think it's okay just to have people in your orbit just because, you know them. So.
Right. And then it's alignment too. That means you're in the right space.
Yeah.
You said you kept on seeing it, so you looked at that as an opportunity or like, hey, okay, this is happening for a reason. Let me not miss my opportunity. We're talking off cam about how if you don't execute, there are people that execute on everybody has a great idea. And you have people that have a great idea, can actually execute on it. You have people that just have a great idea. The people that actually execute are going to be the ones to see their idea come to fruition. And the people that don't are just be like, oh, I had that idea. And you see it on TV. And then it's just like, okay, what does that actually mean?
And people also love to say, too, they'll be like, how'd you get so-and-so there? Well, I said hi to them once a few months ago and kind of just kept and even with, I have a personal Rolodex of people. And I need to update it, but I have people where, I haven't hit up so-and-so in a while. Let me just say hello. Or I haven't, and it's just relationships. You don't need to talk every day. We don't, once a year, that's enough.
Yeah.
Going back to that a little bit, because I think you mentioned a good point. We always talk about this, the power of relationships, right? How did you build that muscle? Have you always been an extrovert, or do you consider yourself extroverted? Like, how were you able to build or have the muscle to build relationships organically?
Well, transparently, I made a video today just talking about everything happening politically and people getting in where they fit in. I am so blessed. Like, my superpower is my voice and my power to connect and talk to people.
Yeah.
And so I do appreciate when people say, you're not helping me because that's just not me. That's not who I am. And I think when I talk to people who are quieter, that's still your superpower. Like, you can still find power. There's a quote, it says, you don't always need to fire, and I'm going to mess it up, and I can follow up with it, but you don't always have to fire and volcano your way to peace. You can also soft river, and like you can be yourself and still find the amount of success that you have defined for yourself.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Man, I'm trying to think. Now, okay, here we are. So you talked about your journey. You talked about where you are in life. You talked about where you are in your career. What do you see like next? Like, what's the vision? What's the big play?
Yeah, so I definitely want to go back to school. And right now I'm thinking about JD MBA programs. Oh. And it's interesting because when I was having dinner in New York last week with an alum who went to my school.
Yep.
And he was like, Nia, if you want the life that you say that you want, it's going to have to be Harvard, Stanford, or Yale. And I was like,
What? That's what they said.
yeah, no, pretty much. No, pretty much. And I don't disagree, right? And I think especially now that we're talking a lot about, HBCUs, for example, being very important, because I'm also thinking about HBCUs. I'm also thinking about Northwestern and kind of mooching off their media program as well too, And so I think I'm trying to find my fit right now and finding what's best for me. I think it's, continuing on my TV show and my projects and endeavors, but really going back to school and making sure that I'm ready for my next step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about this TV show. Let's get into it.
Okay,
Come
cool.
on now. Talk to me.
This is a workshop. I need, and please, trademarked. I need some feedback and let me know if it's corny. So it's called Nouns with Nia, and a noun is a person, place, thing, or idea.
Yep.
Because I'm kind of a kitchen sink kind of person, and I don't want to pigeonhole myself. The reason why it's called that is because each episode will focus on a different noun. The first noun is love. My second episode is going to be about time. And it's a talk show where, I talk to people and I interview, but it's also kind of an experiment / me getting in the field. And so for time, for example, at the college that I went to, I know the person who winds the clock tower once a week in the church in town. Like I went to a small liberal arts college, so we have a town.
What's the name of the college?
Middlebury.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, a lot of people in Chicago have not, but it exists. And
It exists. I would hope so. If you went there.
I know. Well, and so when I interview him, his name's Tony.
Yeah.
It'll be a talk, we'll talk about time and maybe his life and anything that comes from time. And then we're also going into the clock tower and I'm going to help him wind it. And so, I don't know, I just feel like there's so much out there to experience, and through this television show, I can do that. And I can also help people kind of promote the ideas and thoughts that they have in the world, and also, experience a little bit of their world and their experience too.
Nouns with Nia.
Yeah. I feel like the name's kind of corny, but the alliteration makes sense.
It's got a ring.
Yeah.
Big fan of marketing alliteration kind of.
True.
You gotta go hand in hand. Last point I want to touch on briefly is social media. So you go viral on TikTok all the time.
Oh my gosh,
So,
I do.
Can you talk about the transformation of social media, right? When we were growing up, when our generation, Instagram just came alive. We were around for the MySpace days and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Right now, it feels like TikTok is here when it's going to be here for a while, right?
Yeah.
Can you talk about what your big three from a social media platform is right now?
The ones I like.
Yeah.
So I like TikTok because I'm able to have fun.
Yeah.
Of course, I set up my camera and I talk and I used to call it a yappy hour. I show off my outfits and events and stuff. I just think it's fun. I love TikTok.
Yeah.
I do use Instagram a lot. I really like my close friend stories specifically. And I also really like Pinterest.
We were just talking about that with our digital coordinator, Corey, who's on the other side of this thing. We're talking about Pinterest and how it's 70% women on the platform, but she went to Afrotech recently, and I guess this the CCO was saying that men usage is on the rise.
Yeah.
Pinterest. So what do you? Okay, so
Thanks to Alan.
So they see, I use it a lot for mood boards and stuff, expression recently,
exactly.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But okay, so backing up. So those are your big three. You said TikTok,
yep.
Instagram, and you said Pinterest.
Yes.
Okay, so talk about Pinterest.
So for Pinterest, I just really I like it when all my thoughts are, wow, people are so much cooler than I am. I like to be in those environments where I just have a lot of inspiration and I just feel so inspired, and I'm scrolling and I'm like, I can't scroll too long because now I'm getting to the point where it's time for me to create. And one of my boards right now, it's called Not a Rebrand, because I'm not rebranding myself. I'm more so having my I think my holistic offering, like my website, my thesis statement, my elevator pitch, catch up to what I have done and what I plan to do. I think that's a bit outdated. And if you need a reminder, update your LinkedIn, for example, in your portfolio. If you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. And so I think Pinterest, it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
That's powerful what you just said as far as matching up your thesis with the actual portfolio.
Yeah.
That's one thing we teach in branding, right? Is this thing called proof points.
Yeah.
Which means, yes, you have your position and statement. Yes, you have your values and your mission and your vision. But what have you actually done that connects back to that and is proof that what you say is actually, what you are.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think we end up with a lot of wishes. And I really just want to, again, just be unstoppable and move through and document my life in the process. Like right now, I make a monthly playlist and I document what I'm listening to. And I'm able to see, what songs, like I love making playlists. I would say Spotify is one of my big three as well,
See,
too.
I knew you were going to say Spotify. I'm an Apple Music person.
Oh, that's cool.
So is that just in the whole podcast?
Yeah, it was really great. Thank y'all so much.
No, that's good. We have to find ways to partner together, like from personal or whatever the case may be. We have to figure it out because we love working with like-minded people that understand and can teach us stuff as well.
Yeah.
So this was amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, one thing I want to add about social media.
Yeah, let's do it.
So a lot of people talk about how, Instagram's dead now. Like it feels icky to post. Like I don't want to all this stuff,
that,
And I get it. But one, if you're doing things for yourself, like who are you doing it for? I don't care how many people tell me Instagram is icky. Y'all about to see this dump, right? Like y'all about to see my outfit. I look good. Like why would I not put it on there? And so I think that's part of it in doing things for yourself and not for external validation. But also too, make social media social and more fun again. Like I reply to every single one of my friends. I try to. I do my best to. If I post something or I try to comment on their stuff. Make social media more fun again. Like it doesn't need to be
like a fashion show or like a runway or everything has to be so polished.
Even if it is though, because people say that I come off that way. Even if it is, like that's still me. Yeah. Right? Like I like dressing up. I like taking photos but it's authentic at the end of the day. So it doesn't matter if you think it's cringy. It doesn't matter what you think because I'm the one creating and sharing it out into the world and you're the one spectating. We have enough critics and not enough people who do and share and,
it's unapologetically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of that too, I mean, just briefly talking about content creation as a whole, people are always trying to figure out what their niche is and, I want to monetize or I want to have a bigger following. And I've been seeing a lot of TikToks, ironically, about the first step to that is just you have to post more. You have to be unafraid about what somebody else is going to think about this particular post and just get out there and post until you can figure it out, right? Or pivot.
Yeah. So. And they say if you don't feel that, because it took me a second to really get on TikTok and make videos. Yeah. But I remembered when I was a kid, I used to make videos all the time. I took a YouTube class in college because I enjoy making videos. Wow. Yeah. And so that, I don't care. They're like, oh, I can never do that. I know. That's why I'm doing it. Right. So just having a bit of that confidence.
Yeah.
All right. Y'all don't have to yell at me.
Oh my gosh. Hey, and I will though.
Well, close us out, dude.
Yeah, this has been, everything, there is when we talk about a marketing mentality. It's the why behind the why that you offered, Nia. I've learned a lot listening to you share your experience. To go from lawyer trajectory or legal trajectory to marketing to media, and what I love most is that you haven't put a ceiling over your head either.
No ceiling.
And it sounds like the gas is only starting to pick up. So this has been insightful. Hopefully, if you're watching or you're listening, regardless of what position you're in, right, whether you're someone that is building something of your own from scratch or you're aligning with the establishment, right, or you're somewhere figuring it out. I know, Nia has dropped plenty of bombs for you to learn from, and so this is what it's all about. So, if you aren't already subscribe to the Marketing Mentality wherever you can listen to your podcast or watch it on YouTube, and be on the lookout for the next episode. We'll see you then.